guys for coming to watch me make cupcakes. I would love for this to be interactive and really laid back. So if anybody has any questions or wants me to talk about something specific, like you could blurt it out, or you could say hey, or whatever, or use the microphone. We're going to do 2 things together today. First, I'm going to make 3 of our 7 limited edition Valentine's Day flavors, which you have here, which I highly recommend getting. Obviously, I'm Melissa from Baked by Melissa, and I want you to purchase our product that I work so hard to create. But also, our Valentine's Day collection are some of the best flavors we've ever had before, and it's our busiest time of year, and I'm just most proud of these. So I highly recommend them. Also, the packaging is beautiful. We have this love letter gift box. I'm sorry, I have to. I'm so proud. It's like it's my child. Just a little fun fact is that I used to work at Deutsche Advertising, which had its office on the 14th floor, and my cubicle was there. And I was fired from my job there. And that's ultimately what got me baking, or I was baking, but starting Baked by Melissa. So this is super cool and full circle, and I'm very honored to be here. And I'm pregnant, it's not cupcakes. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to make 3 flavors. The first flavor is my absolute favorite flavor. It's our dark chocolate cupcake. I love dark chocolate. I eat a piece of dark chocolate every night before I go to sleep. Now I'm just going to pop one of these. It's so weird that we've never done this before because it's so simple. And if you've ever been curious as to how we make the cupcakes, now you'll see. And you could totally apply this at home if you feel like stuffing your own cupcakes. They'll probably be a little bit bigger until we start selling the pans. But in order to stuff a cupcake, all you have to do is put your icing or filling in a pastry bag and puncture the cupcake and just squeeze. It's so simple. I actually used to, when we first started the company, I'm not now I'm pretty operational, but I used to use a knife to cut a hole in every cupcake and then stuff it, and then a few years ago, I realized you could just do this. You know, they sell those things that the cores for the cupcakes. This is a dark chocolate ganache, and this is our dark chocolate icing. If you happen to have Cakes by Melissa, my cookbook, or get one, there's a chocolate icing recipe. If you switch out the Hershey's cocoa powder for the Hershey's dark cocoa powder, you'll get a dark chocolate icing, and it's so good. Have you guys tried this one? It was the one topped with mini chocolate chips and the pink and red nonpareils. It's so good. And then after we do these 3 flavors, the next flavor is going to be cookies and milk, which is a vanilla version of cookie dough, and it's also made with a Chips Ahoy cookie icing. Because I just really like dessert and snacks, and that's kind of how I create. So when I was thinking about doing a cookies and milk flavor, I knew that it needed to have Chips Ahoy cookies because when I was growing up, that's what cookies and milk means to me. You know, dipping the Chips Ahoy cookie in the milk and then letting the bubbles come up until it got soggy. Oh my God, I'm lying. I'm not doing cookies and milk. I'm doing salted caramel pretzel, which I think we call white chocolate pretzel. So this one's good too. It's stuffed with dulce de leche, and the icing is actually, okay, but here, it's a perfect example. The icing is a pretzel icing. So I wanted to figure out a way to do a salty, sweet type of cupcake without just doing something basic like salted caramel. And so I decided to put pretzels in the icing and the brittle. So this is white chocolate mixed with ground pretzels. And it's, well, you tried it. I hope you liked it. But it's salty and sweet. And to me, it tastes like pretzels and caramel. And it's amazing. So I'm just going to finish icing these and top them And then we'll do the last flavor. And then after that, I am going to make a layer cake for you guys.
Can you talk about, do you still come up with all the new flavors yourself, or do you have a team, or how involved are you still in that process?
That's a great question. I'm very much involved in that process. I create and conceptualize every new flavor and product that we create. I'm sorry, I get out of breath randomly sometimes. It's like new. I think it's because of that. So I apologize. What happens is, I met my husband the day we opened our very first store. It's a great, crazy story of how we started the company. He's part of it. I wound up hiring him, and the two of us used to ice every single cupcake together, like the first 2 years that we were in business. And then now he works in the bakery, and I'm in corporate, and my role is president and chief product officer. So I create and conceptualize everything, but then he brings it to production. So we kind of work together. So like I'll be like, make a pretzel icing, and he'll be like, or this brittle, for example, like you have to be able to produce it to make thousands of them. So sometimes my requests are a little silly, but he always figures out ways to make them work. And sometimes he even takes what I've either created once or I'm asking for and makes it even better. It's a very fortunate partnership. The last of the 3 flavors that I am making is chocolate cookie dough. So cookie dough and cookie flavors in general are like a very popular thing for us. Like everyone loves them. So this is like a chocolate version of cookie dough. It is chocolate cake. The stuffing is a chocolate version of cookie dough. So it has like cocoa in it, and it's like salty and sweet and delicious. It's iced with vanilla icing, and it's topped with cookie dough, chocolate cookie dough that is here. It kind of looks like the poop emoji, but there's a pink drizzle that we put on top to make it look like it works. It's crazy. But my pink chocolate didn't melt so well, so you're just gonna get the cookie topping. And those are 3 of the Valentine's Day flavors. I don't know where my gloves are, maybe? Well, here. So then you literally just like, I would have put gloves on. It's just like neater and easy, but it's not a big deal. And that's the chocolate cookie dough cupcake. It gets confusing. We have cookies and cream, we have cookie dough, we have chocolate cookie dough, we have a double cookie flavor, which is coming back soon. But like, cookies are so good. And cookies with cake are even more amazing. Okay. Does anybody want a freshly cupcake baked by Melissa? Okay, so that was part 1. That's just like, why I'm here, bite-sized cupcakes. They're really amazing. I could ice cupcakes all day long. I used to for like 2 years. That's all I did was ice and bake cupcakes. And I couldn't have been happier, but we grew the business, so now I do a lot of things. So in October, I came out with a book that I wrote. It's called Cakes by Melissa. And the reason that I felt like I needed to write a book was because I had all of these recipes in my head that I've been using for Baked by Melissa all the time. And even though you can't like make bite-sized cupcakes, I really wanted the reader to be able to like think the way I think and like get creative the way I create. So I think it achieved that. And it kind of takes you through my creative process of like coming up with these like random flavor profiles, starting with a very base, like vanilla cake as an example, and then adding 1 or 2 ingredients. And you can make anything. If you take your vanilla cake base and replace the liquid, which is whole milk, with strawberry puree, you get this like bomb strawberry cake. And it's crazy and it's super simple, and people always think that baking is like crazy and really complicated, but I don't think it is. So the cake that I'm going to make for you guys today is the tie-dye cake. Because that's why we're here. But, like, we don't have a ton of time together, so the cake is already made. And my husband made it. He sent it to us. But so it's big. So it's on, like, one of our sheet pans from the bakery. And I like to make my layer cakes this way because I don't like the crust. And, like, obviously, if you in the book, the recipe is for like a quarter sheet pan, because that's normal. But you know, we got this one. So you wouldn't have as much scrap as I'm going to have. So don't judge. And I use the scrap to decorate the cake too. But you take like 6-inch or however big you want your cake to be. Amazon is amazing. You can get like anything you need on Amazon, and you don't have to be a baker. You could Google recipes. You could get Cakes by Melissa and use those recipes and order everything you need and then just have a lot of fun. So I actually didn't know that these things existed until I searched on Amazon because I wanted to be able to make cakes of all sizes when I was recipe testing. So I like to punch out my layers because then it's like the whole cake is delicious, you know? Layer 1, got my vanilla icing. Does anyone know the 3 ingredients in vanilla icing?
Sugar.
Sugar.
Butter.
Great. Butter, sugar, vanilla extract. It's like so easy. I actually added a little bit of whole milk to this because when I'm spreading on cake, you know how it could get really messy? This just makes it like a much like smoother consistency, and it's much, see, it's like so easy. So a little icing between each layer. And I like, so before, I really, again, like I wanted to write a book, but I wasn't sure how I would get like the bite-sized cupcakes through in this like book that I knew I couldn't like give you recipes for because it's impossible to bake them. And that's when I learned how to make cakes. Like I had obviously made cakes before, but I had like never really put together a layer cake. So I'm telling you, like, I'm not just saying this, like, obviously, yes, I work with my hands for a living and I make cupcakes, but like, if I could put together these cakes, I'm like not the neatest person in the world, then anyone can. So that's layer 2. It's like making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And then more vanilla icing. Does anyone have any other questions? Like, what do you want me to talk about?
So you mentioned that people really go crazy for the cookie flavors.
Yeah.
And so I was just curious what things like metrics like that have to do with your flavor development. Like, do you kind of use those metrics to figure out next flavors, and how do you do that but also keep to like what you want your taste to be?
That's a great question. So luckily I've found that like for the most part, I mean, I'm not a vanilla person. It's like, believe it, the tie-dye cupcake is our #1 seller. Like, thank goodness it is our signature flavor. It makes complete sense. It's great for our brand, but it's like not my like go-to. It's my daughter's. She loves it. But with that said, like for the most part, like I know when a flavor is going to be amazing. So like the dark chocolate, like as soon as I tasted it, I did a happy dance and I couldn't stop eating it. And it's like selling so well right now. We obviously like look at the data. Every week, actually, Mondays are dedicated to sales meetings to go over the previous week. And one of the reports we look at is the cupcakes and how they sold a la carte, because that's super helpful for me in product development. And I know that the Baked by Melissa customer loves like vanilla and chocolate and cookies and like stoner type, like, you know, it's like called Baked by Melissa. So like the double cookie is like Oreo, cookie dough, chocolate, like it's so good. And that's like what I like. So it works. But I'm always looking to see like what sells the best. Like sugar cookie dough. I like have this sugar cookie dough recipe that I kind of just like Googled and fell in love with, and like, you know, maybe like changed a little, but like really it's just like the standard sugar cookie dough recipe that I was making for my whole office, and they loved it. I was like, oh my God, how could I get this in a cupcake? And then I developed a sugar cookie dough icing, which is sugar cookie dough, but like with an icing consistency. And everyone freaked out over that. And I kind of knew that they would because it's like vanilla, but cookie. So I get you guys, you know?
Is there a flavor that surprised you, that sells as well as it does, that you didn't expect?
I guess I like things that are like I like double cookie. So I guess like I was pleasantly surprised to see that tie-dye, like tie-dye is going strong. Tie-dye has been our most popular flavor for like since we started the company. And then when the book launched, I created an electric tie-dye, which is like just like brighter colored tie-dye. And the two are neck and neck. And like every week I'm sitting in the conference room and I look at the report, I'm like, yeah! Like I kind of root for electric tie-dye. I don't know why. It's like the newer one. I like the colors. It's super bright. So that surprised me because like vanilla. But like I get it. People like vanilla. Who likes vanilla here? Like over chocolate? Who likes chocolate over vanilla? See, so it's like surprising, right? But it's also very colorful, and I've learned that people eat with their eyes. So like, in order for a flavor of anything to be successful, it has to be equally as beautiful as delicious. And you know, it sounds like it's not rocket science, but like, you know, when I look at other products out there, or when I go into a bakery or a restaurant, whatever, like you really have to sell with the way it looks, and then the taste is like the other half. Okay. So I stacked the cake. 3 layers is what I recommend. Otherwise, it gets very difficult. A spinny thing is super helpful. And like you see, like it's not super straight. No promises. But because you have this spinny thing, it helps. Because you could like spin it and then, I don't know, it's crazy. So there's this thing that we refer to as a crumb coat. And so, yeah, this is a crumb coat. So you do like this thin layer of icing around it. Okay, you do a thin layer of icing around the cake first. And that kind of just like keeps everything neat and together. And then you go back and you ice it again. You're really supposed to like pop it in the fridge and let the icing harden and then do another layer. But I also like to complicate things, so I'm going to put glaze on here. So like, and it's really pretty, you know, like the little crumbs because they're colorful. So, but you could like just do a crumb coat on a tie-dye cake and leave it. It looks like funfetti. So Cakes by Melissa came out in October, and I did all of this press, and I work with my husband. And, you know, we have this weird competitive nature, but it, like, really works. And that's kind of how we come out with such amazing flavors for Baked by Melissa. And I did, like, a ton of live segments. So, like this, but, like, for CNBC, where, like, you have, like, a 5-minute segment and, like, 30 seconds to ice the cake. And one night we were laying in bed, and he's like, you know, when you do the cakes on live TV, you should probably make them look, like, really symmetrical and nice. I was like, you try doing that. It's so hard. So I'm going to try and make this one look really symmetrical and nice for my husband. And I'm going to go home tonight when we're laying in bed. I'm going to tell him. But I mean, and I appreciate all feedback. I think it's super important. Along those lines, see, look, but like it's pretty nice so far, right? You just gotta don't overthink it. You know, you're baking to enjoy. Even that's why I bake. That's why we're all here, because I love to bake. So when you're baking at home, you should enjoy it. And you know, I associate Valentine's Day with baked goods because so if you don't want to buy cupcakes, which is totally cool, I get it, you should make something and think of me. No, but I mean, it's just fun. I think you'll have a great time. Do it with your friends or whomever, your kid, okay. So far, so good, right? I think you're actually technically, I follow a lot of cake makers on Instagram. They usually start with the top. And every time I watch them, I'm like, oh, I should start on the top. And then I forget. So one question that people ask me all the time is like how we started Baked by Melissa, of course, and like, what did you do differently? All this stuff. And like, I think one thing that's super important to anyone who wants to be successful at anything, can you see the prettiness of like, there's like little specks of the colors inside. There's a certain attitude that I think is necessary for success in anything, especially in starting your own business, and it's a positive attitude. And I know that sounds crazy, but my attitude when I was fired from my job, so I was literally sitting at this sink in my cube, a call, and I was called to HR, and I thought I was getting a promotion, and I was fired, and I was so upset. True. I was so upset, guys. I really, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, I was like anyone who got fired. I like thought it wasn't my fault, and I wanted to like, you know, whatever, retaliate. I thought it was so unjust. I went right to my brother's office crying, and he said, go home and start your business. Go home, bake your cupcakes, we'll start a business out of it. And it's not crazy because I love to bake. And at the time, right? It's pretty. Okay. I don't have a lot of time left, but I'm gonna finish the story too. But while I'm doing that, I'm gonna make glaze. This is the best part of this cake. I take things too far. If I mess something up, I'll like put glaze on it and it'll cover it up. So I didn't mess this one up, but I'm gonna put glaze on it because it's so fun. And glaze is very complicated. This is powdered sugar, and I'm gonna add whole milk. And that's glaze. And I'm gonna use a spoon. This one. Okay. So my brother's an entrepreneur, like a mad scientist entrepreneur, like always had new business ideas all the time, and I love to bake, and I always wanted to go into business with him, start a business with him. So when he said go home and bake your cupcakes, I was like, great. Like, it's a great idea because I'm really upset and I like to do that and it'll make me happy. And at the time, I was baking my tie-dye cupcakes. I'm just gonna move this. For like everyone and anyone. If it was your birthday and I loved you and I love a ton of people, I baked you tie-dye cupcakes. And the reason that I did that was A, because I love to bake, but B, because has anyone ever baked something delicious and given it to somebody? It's the best feeling. Like, truly, that's why I did it. It was totally selfish. I love to bake for people because it made me feel good. And I did it all the time. And I had been known for my tie-dye cupcakes. So when he said to do it, I was like, great idea. I baked 4 batches of cupcakes the night I was fired. My tie-dye, cookie dough, s'mores, and peanut butter cup. I would say those are my 4 favorite flavors. And I wound up sending them into work with my best friend's little sister, who was interning at Allison Broad PR. Anyone heard of Allison Broad, maybe? She was like a celebrity to me. I'm not neat in the kitchen. A female who started her own business. All women worked there, whatever. I hoped that she would like try the cupcakes herself, but I didn't even know if she like went to work every day. And I just didn't know, you know? But like in the back of my mind, I was hoping that Allison would see the cupcakes and something amazing would happen. And would you know, that's exactly what happened. So I sent all these cupcakes into work with Carly, who was interning there. I'm out of breath again, I'm sorry. And Allison saw them. She had her caterer in the office, luckily, at the time. And she was like, Ben, look at these cupcakes. They're amazing. You should reach out to her. So he did. So I got a call from Allison Broad's caterer, like the day after I was fired from my job. He wanted to bring me into his office, which was his apartment. It was a little shady, but I went with it for a tasting. So I ran back to my brother's office, and I was like, holy shit, I just got a tasting with Allison Broad's caterer. And he had his own business, like building websites for people, so it was kind of perfect. I said, like, we have to go in there, like, we have a business already, and he could be a part of it. I'm splitting it up into 2 bowls, and I'm going to dye each one pink and blue, because those are my favorite colors. And because they look beautiful when they combine. So we were like, okay, we need a name and a logo. I wanted to go in there like I had a business already, and he could be a part of it. Otherwise, like, what would come from the opportunity? That was like my mindset. And Brian and Matt were like totally cool with it. Is there like a spoon, like a soup spoon? Great. Aha, perfect. Thank you. So you don't need complicated stuff. So my brother's business partner at the time for Musebox, which was the web development company, and it was like literally just the two of them in this little tiny office on 38th and 8th, was also our childhood friend Matt. So like he knew me very well. So my brother insisted that the name of the company had a personal tie. So we liked Baked by Melissa. I really wanted the company to be called Baked, but he insisted that my name was in it, which I'm so thankful about. And Matt created the logo, and it's the same exact logo we had today. I think I cried when I saw it because it's like so perfect. And it's so who I am and who our brand is now. And I mocked up bakery boxes with our logo. I got like flat pastry boxes from the Clover Deli on 34th and 2nd, which was right across the street from my apartment at the time. And I went to the caterer for a tasting. He loved the cupcakes, and I did my first event with him less than a week after I was fired. We made business cards that had my name, my home address, and my cell phone number, but they were also branded Baked by Melissa, so they looked so legit. My parents were like, what is happening? Like, people are just going to be, like, knocking on your apartment door. Literally, like, suite 27G. I was apartment 27G. And yeah, so people came and they saw these unbelievable bite-sized cupcakes that were so beautiful and also delicious. Everyone knew cupcakes, but they had never seen them bite-sized, which was so cute. And they would take a cupcake, then they would take a business card, and then you would go to bakedbymelissa.com, which Brian and Matt obviously helped me create, and we founded the company together. So the three of us worked our butts off to get to where we are today. We shot the whole website on my IKEA coffee table with a white bed sheet between the table and the cupcakes using my Canon point-and-shoot camera. And when people saw the cupcakes, they went to Baked by Melissa. You could purchase 100 cupcakes or more to be delivered by me from my apartment using the subway. I'd like put a Baked by Melissa sticker on a white pizza box. And that's how we started Baked by Melissa. I did events, I cold called caterers, I took advantage of every opportunity that came my way. Okay, glaze time. This is just really fun. So I like tie-dye and bright colors, therefore the cake is gonna be very much like that. So while we were shooting the book, I realized that if you alternate colors of glaze on a cake, it makes like a tie-dye effect. And a beautiful shade of purple. So that was like 10 years ago, which is crazy. So since then, we've opened 14 retail locations. We ship our product nationwide, so you can send these to anyone. BakedByMelissa.com. Google Love. Can you see the top? I just want to okay, anyway. And then this is an offset spatula. This is a baby one. And it gives, oh, it's so pretty. It'll start to drip. And you could totally control all this stuff based on how much liquid you put in the glaze. If you want it to drip more, then you put more liquid. If you want to cover the whole cake, you could do that too. I just like to have fun with it. Glaze dries really quickly, so you kind of have to move quick. It's just so pretty. Okay, watch this. Ready? And you could make it like tie-dye. Yeah, it's fancy. Very fancy. There we go. I guess I could probably make it look prettier. Here. You know what? I'm gonna make little smudges. But see, like, this is how I create things. I just kind of go with it. And, like, the end result is always beautiful, no matter what. Does anybody have any questions for me while I...
How do you mass produce something that seems so individualized like
That's so
this?
funny. That's a great question. So, when the book came out, my CEO and I, who is like, my CEO is probably my favorite person in the world, we were like, shit, are people going to want to buy cakes now? We just came out with a book called Cakes by Melissa. Are they going to like assume that we sell cakes? So we kind of had to figure that out, how to mass produce cakes. So what we do is we make these sheets. My husband does. He makes all of these sheets of tie-dye cake, and then we have one person who assembles them. And like, I took a really long, like, it's pretty quick. We do sell a tie-dye cake just like this at bakedbymelissa.com. You can pre-order it. We say 4 days in advance, but of course we make exceptions. And wow, it's so pretty. You can pre-order it, and then pickup is in-store only. It's funny because Alison Broad has been ordering a ton of these cakes, and I just love her so much I would do anything for her. So I actually handwrite happy birthday to whoever she wants, which we do not do. But Alison, whatever Alison wants, Alison gets. So I do that for her. And they're actually iced. Like, this cake is, I did this for the first time when we were shooting the book. I didn't plan, I kind of just do. I could have never told you what this cake was going to look like before I made it. But the cake that I made while we were shooting the book inspired the cake that we now sell. And it's so beautiful and so delicious and so moist. It's very moist. Sorry. What do you guys think about that word? Do you think it's gross?
No, it's not.
I mean, for baking it makes sense, but we have like conversations about that word a lot in my line of work. Like, meaning at Baked by Melissa, like, whatever. We don't use it in our marketing. Although I kind of fight for it because it is our product. And then this my sprinkle blend, and there's my tie-dye cake.
And we have a few boxes of cupcakes to give away for anybody who has questions.
Oh.
I think you asked already, we'll get one too. Don't worry.
Back there.
Everyone should just grab a fork and take a bite. That's what I would do. But that's not appropriate. It's like an arts and crafts project that you can eat.
So, did you always make like mini cupcakes, or did you ever make larger ones, or what made you decide to then do mini cupcakes specifically?
That's a great. I always baked large cupcakes. I really love cupcakes, so I wanted to eat big ones. But I also would eat 2 large cupcakes a day, and I knew that if I was starting a business with a product, it had to be unique and different in some way. So we decided to make it just a bite. This way you could try every flavor without the post-dessert guilt trip. And everything's under 50 calories. But we have, like, it's all, like, real, like, the best butter, sugar, Hershey's cocoa, Hershey's chocolate, like, Chips Ahoy cookies, Oreos. But it's just 50 calories. Less than that, because it's just a bite. So it's, like, perfect.
Brilliant, yeah. R.I.P. crumbs.
I love all cupcakes.
I have a few questions, but on that note of loving all cupcakes, living in New York, do you have any other, besides your own, any other favorite stops around the city?
I love sprinkles. I do. I love their strawberry cake. I just love it all. I love all cupcakes. I even like Crumbs cupcakes. There, I said it. I used to get 2 Crumbs cupcakes every day from the Clover Deli. They didn't say they were Crumbs, but I know that they were Crumbs. Or they were like made by the same people who, yeah. Any other questions?
Being a mom, working, like how do you do cupcake stuff?
When I first had my daughter, so she's 2 now, I was like, oh, I just work hard at everything, give my all, which is true, I do, and it's hard. So it's just really hard. But I think it's important to like love what you do every day. So, and like, I love going home to my daughter, but I also love working. Like, I don't think being a stay-at-home mom would be for me. I'm tired a lot being pregnant and stuff, but I'm really happy that I am going to be an example for her. Like, we can do anyone can do anything, and like women can do anything, and I'm happy to embody that for her. And it's hard.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
So you said you met your husband the first day of business.
Yes.
What's that story?
Sure. So it was opening day of our very first retail location. For those of you who like know the Soho area well, the corner of Broadway and Spring Street, before it was Nike Town, was a cafe called Cafe Barry. And Cafe Barry had this little pickup window that was attached to it. And that was our first retail location, a bite-sized, if you will, pickup window on Spring Street in the corner of Broadway. And it was part of Cafe Barry. So opening day, I'm like freaking out thinking who's going to stop at this hole in the wall and buy cupcakes they've never heard of before. I'm 24 years old, literally like got fired from my job 7 months prior, was just like hustling to like bake cupcakes and try and do what I love every day. And now we're opening a store. So I was kind of freaking out. I didn't have the experience or the confidence I have today. I'm sitting at the bar. We had gotten somebody to work the booth for opening day so I could like chill. I had baked enough cupcakes. It was like the first moment I was sitting down in months. And David Z was sitting next to me at the bar. David Z used to have all these shoe stores named David Z throughout Manhattan. His nephew is Ronnie Feig, who founded Kith. So like that whole like, Ronnie used to work for him, whatever. And like David was a regular at Cafe Barry. He came every morning for his coffee, and he was there that morning for his coffee. And he's like he's like an old, he's like my dad's age. And he's like a character, like takes it too far sometimes. So I'd never met him before, but I knew who he was because he was like well known to me. And he looks at the bartender, who I had also never met before, and he says, Adi, who is this beautiful girl? And the bartender looked me up and down, and he said, that's my wife. And I felt like he was such a jerk, but that's how I met my husband. And then I like hired, he's Israeli, so like he would look at me, these like foreign eyes, like I'm the most beautiful girl in the world, and I totally worked.
Do we have time for another one?
Yeah.
How did you
Yeah, I'm just washing them.
Okay.
How did you guys come up with like the pricing model for your products? I know each of these is $1. Like, I obviously buy your product and I spend that, but some people say that's too much, too little. Like, how did you come up with $1?
I'm telling you, it's definitely not too much because there is so much that goes into every single one of these cupcakes. You know, our cupcakes have been $1 since the day we started the company, which is pretty crazy. And I don't think as much thought went into it as you would imagine, or probably as we should have put into it. But their $1 is very clean. I think it's nice to be able to just like pay, $3 for 3 cupcakes. And that was our pricing model. At the time, we started the company at the end of the recession too. So, it was a time when people weren't like going and spending a ton of money on things. So like for $1, you could get something that tastes delicious, brings you back to your childhood, and makes you happy instead of like going and buying jeans. And yes, I'm going to eat this.
So you have an awesome success story, but if you look back, is there anything you would have done differently now looking back?
I would have had more confidence in myself probably, because through my experience, I've learned that you can do anything. Like, I can do anything, you could do anything. It's like a certain attitude and mindset and work ethic and like being persistent and positive and all that stuff that's so cliche and totally true. And I wish I knew that the way I know that today, because maybe I would have even now like if I set my mind to something, I know I'm going to achieve it, which is nice.
Hi, Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so my question is, what is your favorite memory with Cake Madness?
Oh, I have so many. We've been around for 10 years. I took over Instagram recently, like in October, like during the launch of the book. This was another you can do anything thing. Like, wrote the book in 3 months, which was crazy. But like, I really wanted it to launch for holiday 2017 because that's a great opportunity for us to like have things to talk about from a brand perspective. And I told our CEO, like, I'm going to take over Instagram. And that the only way the launch of the book will be successful is if I do that. And I'm going to figure it out and make it happen. He's like, you are. Like, I know you are now. And I was very persistent with, like, the people, the one person who I knew there. And I wound up taking over Instagram's account, which is, like, 270 million followers. I did an Instagram story and a post on the feed on National Dessert Day. And I'm not one to say something's going to happen before it happens, but like we had gotten confirmation and like we created the content beforehand and I was so excited. So I like told everybody and they said they were going to post at 4. They're like on the other side of the country and like we're just like waiting and like, you know, wasting time. We were in Bloomingdale's after an event and like it wasn't happening and I was like freaking out. And then I was like on the subway underground going to another event in Brooklyn, and we got out of the subway, and they posted. I could cry. Like, I was so exciting. And yeah, it's just like, that's what it's about. Like, we work so, we work so hard. So, like, enjoying those, like, moments, and that was a big moment, but, like, all the little moments, too. That's, like, totally necessary.
Yeah, one more question over there.
Thank you. Did you ever worry when you were starting up, did you ever worry about competition, and what did you want Baked by Melissa to be known for?
You give me so much credit. All I knew is that I had the chance to do what I love every day, which was bake cupcakes, and in turn eat them. But that focus. I was focused on doing it. I took advantage of every opportunity that came my way. Somebody wanted to try the cupcakes. They got cupcakes. I would go deliver them no matter. I cold called catering companies. I just did all of my mind power was focused on doing everything I could to do what I love every day because I knew that if I didn't and it didn't happen, then one day I would look back and think coulda, woulda, shoulda, and I just can't live my life that way. So the rest of the stuff I didn't have time to think about.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for coming in.